First, we have a lovely day.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, all. Merci. Ifeanyi,
Good evening, sir.
Tekno. Abigail. Good evening, all.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Sorry, man. Okay, Amarachi, how you doing?
I'm fine, sir. Good evening, sir.
All right, let's get to the business. I'm 5 minutes late to the class, the usual trying to get to the class. Please, can we mute so that we move to the business straight? Please, let's mute. Amarachi, please mute. Thank you. Now, we started the lecture. My first lecture started last week. We started with cost estimation. Now, let's do a quick recap of that class. I started by saying that performance management is one of the subjects you can pass at your first sitting. It's very doable. ICANN provided sufficient guidance as to what is required for you to do performance management successfully. The Institute says performance management is drawn from 3 subjects. Performance management is drawn from 3 areas. One is cost accounting. Number 2 is management accounting. The number 3 is quantitative techniques. Now, we went straight to the first topic, cost estimation. We explained cost estimation, that is a method or is a term used to describe measurement of historical cost with a view to predicting likely future costs. You are trying to measure historical costs. Historical costs are your past costs. You measure the cost, you classify the cost. Chigozie, please, can you mute? Tisola, can you please mute? You measure your past cost. You categorize your past cost. Titilola, please mute. I have to mute. She's completing the class.
Ashwaju,
Yes, please.
please do the muting by yourself there. That is what they did throughout yesterday. Some of them do not even know you are talking to them. So just do the muting. If you see anybody is disturbing, mute that person.
It actually disturbed my class.
That was what we experienced yesterday throughout.
Now, because I'm trying to mute, I have to just pause the class. Now it's, they have to even ask them, why is it difficult to mute? We are battling with Titi now. Muting Titi is a challenge for us. If it's becoming a problem, we might have to knock the person out. If you're in a class is a business for us. Or I think she has muted. No, for some, that's why for some, they just log on. Okay, I'll get back to you. They just log on, they are not even part, they are not actually with their closer to that system. All right, let's go on. Albeit we must try to carry ourselves along We explained that cost estimation is described as the measurement of your historical cost, so as to help you to be able to predict likely future costs. The purpose of cost estimation is to help management in cost control, planning, and decision making. We emphasize that an understanding of cost behavior is a prerequisite for cost estimation. What does that mean? For you to be able to estimate future costs, you must understand how costs behave. Under the cost behavior, you have three types of behavior. You have like three major types of cost behavior. We have variable costs. These are costs that vary in direct proportion with the volume of production. The more we produce, the more variable costs we are going to incur. Please note, variable cost per unit will be constant, but the total variable cost will increase in line with the volume of production. A good example is material costs. The more you produce, the more raw material you are going to use. Hence, the more raw material cost you are going to incur. Let me see the charts. Okay. The material was actually shared today again. However, my phone is not with me here. Somebody can reshare the material to help other students. That material was shared. Somebody can help us reshare the material to assist students just joining the class today. All right, thank you. Now, you must understand how costs behave. We have explained variable costs. Fixed costs. But thank you, Joy. Joy has reshared. Oh, Joy. Very fixed costs. These are costs that remain fixed in total, regardless of the volume of production. Whether you produce one, or you produce two, or you produce three, the total fixed costs remain the same. A good example of fixed cost is your rent. If you pay rent, whether you produce one product in that shop or you produce two products, the rent you have paid is fixed. The rent will not change. Then we have mixed costs. These are costs that are partly variable and partly fixed. Oh, Titi Lokwe, my friend, please mute. Oh. Mixed costs. These are costs that are partly variable and partly fixed. We explained this last week. We look at the different method of estimating cost. We explained 5. We have the engineering method of estimating costs. We have the accounts analysis method. We explained this last week. We have the scatter diagram. The first 3 we explained last week. Engineering method, you are using engineering technology to try to estimate cost. For you to use engineering method, you must be able to define the physical input required to achieve a specific output. This was explained last week. Account analysis method. You are using information contained in the ledger accounts to determine which cost is variable which cost is fixed, and which cost is mixed. We explain this. We have the scatter diagram. You can use graph. You can use graphical method to plot relationship between total cost and the volume of production. Based on this relationship, you can use visual approximation to predict likely future costs. Now, I mentioned that these three methods, calculations will not be involved. Then we move to this number 4th method, the high and low method. The high and low method, you are going to look at the two extreme data points, the highest and the lowest level. You can now use these data points to determine your fixed cost, represented by letter A, your variable cost, represented by small letter b. In the equation y is equal to a plus bx. We explain this. Then we explain linear regression analysis. This involves the use of statistical formula to estimate likely future cost from the equation y is equal to a plus bx. The formula, if you have to calculate your variable rates, the statistical formula is stated. If you have to calculate your fixed cost, represented by a small letter a, the formula is also stated. Thereafter, we look at a question. Last week, that question was 2-in-1. That was the question number 1. We look at this question. The question involved 2 factories, Apapa factory and Ikeja factory. And we were able to solve the aspect relating to Apapa factory. At the end of the class, we suggested that students to attempt the Ikeja factory question. I must say that although like 3 or 4 students submitted, but the attempt was highly impressive. At least the students that submitted, they were able to address that question to like 50 to 60%. Tonight, we are going to address that question together in the classroom. Students that were in class last week, students that attempted the question, and students that were joining the class today, we equally benefit from this question. All right, I can see the hand being raised up. Techno TK6. Any question, please?
It's just a thumb for you that you want to repeat the something.
Oh, okay, thank you. So we are going to address the question together in class. Then if time permits, we move to the next discussion. All right, Tawheed, you can actually close your video. It's good. But if you want to leave it, there's no problem. All right, let's move to the question. If there's no question, let us go to the question together. Please, as much as possible. All right, let me ask, any volunteer who is reading the question for us? Any volunteer can read?
Let me read, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
Eko Akete Industries Limited operates 2 factories, one in Apapa and the other in Ikeja. The factory at Apapa is producing output in excess of sales demand, and it will be necessary to reduce output in the next period from the current 90% level of activity, 11,700 units, to 75%. The factory at Ikeja is also currently working at 90% level of activity, 8,100 units of a different product. But due to heavy sales demand, it is intended to increase output to 115%. You are given the information below about cost. Apapa factory. Level of activity, 80%, 90%, 100%. Direct, can you raise it up, sir?
Yes, please. Thank you. In fact, thank you. Okay, is 2 up, Abi?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, it's okay. So direct material, 72% 800, 81% at 90%, and 91,000 at 100%.
All value assume correct.
Okay, Ikeja as well, the same thing, required.
Okay, please. Our focus will now be on Ikeja factory. We have 80%, 90%, up to 110%. All right, requirements.
I can't see it too.
Now I'll move it up, don't worry. In fact, for you to read, say you are actually, I just want to make sure that we have the class together. All right, look at requirements.
Required. A statement to show the expected marginal cost, contribution, and the profit for each factory at the proposed level of activity.
At the proposed level of activity. All right, thank you. Okay. Let us focus on this. Now, let me reiterate the question. You are required to prepare a statement to show the expected marginal cost, contribution, and profit for each factory at the proposed level of activity. Like I explained last week, if you look at this question, there is nowhere in the question the examiner says estimate cost. There is nowhere in the question where the examiner says use this particular method of estimating cost. Like I mentioned last week, this topic is not a standalone. This topic has relationship with virtually all the topics under performance management. What am I trying to stress? You must understand estimating techniques and how to use these techniques to estimate cost. What the examiner has asked is prepare a statement to show expected marginal cost. Assuming I'm to write this exam, I will now ask myself, what is marginal cost? Last week, I tried to define it to the students. Again, I'm going to redefine it so as to benefit not only the new student joining tonight. What you say every time sticks. When we say marginal cost, there are 2 ways you can define your marginal cost. Marginal cost can be defined from 2 perspectives. Perspective number 1, from the perspective of the economist. You may take down, you may jot down. From the perspective of the economist, marginal cost is the additional cost incurred as a result of producing an additional unit of a product. Marginal cost. Additional cost incurred as a result an additional unit of a particular product. The second perspective, from the perspective of the accountant, from the perspective of the accountant, marginal cost is the summation of all the variable costs incurred by the company. We have settled marginal cost. We are going to look at it from the perspective of the economist. Sorry, from the perspective of the accountants, in order to answer this question. I want to know all the variable costs that has been incurred or that will be incurred at the proposed level of activity. If you look at Ikeja factory, we have 80% level. We are giving 90%, 100%, and 110%. Now back to the question. Look at it. Look at it, please. Look at the highlighted. The factory at Ikeja is currently working at 90% level. In brackets, this 90% is equal to 8,100 units. But due to heavy sales demand, it is intended to increase output to 115%. That means the proposed level at Ikeja factory is 115%. Now, examiner is now asking you to prepare a statement to show the expected marginal cost if the activity level is 115%. The contribution if the activity level is 115%. Then the profit if the activity level is at 115%. And we have defined marginal cost. Next, what is contribution? Your contribution is the difference between the sales value and the total marginal cost. Lastly, your profits. Your profits, Ayodeji, please can you mute? Thank you. Your profits is the excess of contribution over your total fixed cost. We have explained the components. We now proceed to Ikeja factory. We want to determine the cost if the production level is at 115. All right, any question before we move to the solution part? Is there any question, please? Before we move to the solution aspect, please. All right, thank you. Please get your calculator closer to you. It is a class that is going to be interactive. If possible, also get your writing pad. I'm much aware that The solution will be shared. The solution is also available in the material shared. But to keep yourself active in class, get your calculation, get your writing part closer, and follow the class. Assume you are in a physical class. All right, thank you. Now, we move to the whiteboard. We now start the solution. Please confirm you can see my whiteboard being shared.
Yes, sir. We can see your whiteboard.
Yes, sir.
Bessie, I hope you are online. I'm not sure. All right, Nancy, thank you. Please, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute, please. Please, just 1 minute. Just one. All right, let's go on with the class. All right. We are going to navigate between the two screens, the whiteboard and our first working. Okay, working number 1. If you look at the question, I'll go back to the question again. You are given the activity level in percentage, 80%, 90%, 100%, 105, 110. Your first working is to determine the number of units and sold at each percentage level. Now you are given that at 90%, look at it, please, Ikeja factory. Our attention is on Ikeja factory. The factory at Ikeja is also currently working at 90% level of activity. At that level, the number of units produced and sold is 8,100 units. We can use this to derive other levels. You now go to your working 1. Your working 1. You now want to get the units. You are giving 80%, 90%. At 90%, Unit is 8,100. 100%, you don't know, 105, 110. I can now use this 90% to derive other levels. If you want to get 80%, it becomes 80 divided by over 90 multiplied by 8,100. Please compose. How many units, please?
7,200.
7,200.
Okay. At 100%, 100 over 90 multiplied by 8,100. That will give you how much, please?
9,000.
Okay, some of us have done it. At 105, 105 over 100 multiplied by 8,000. What do you have?
9,450.
So it's supposed to be over 90, not 100.
Oh, thank you. Over 90.
That's 9,450.
Over 90. At 110, this is 110. 110 over 90 multiplied by 8,100. What do you have, please?
9,900.
Thank you. Now, the proposed level we are working on, we are proposing 115 level at Ikeja. At that level, output becomes 115 divided by 90 multiplied by 8,100. What do you have, please?
10,350.
You have gotten the units. You have taken the percentage and you have worked out the units. That is your working number one. Working number two. Your working number two is to determine test for what we call cost behavior. Text for cost behavior. What you are trying to find out is the direct material cost. Is it a variable cost or a fixed cost or a mixed cost? You are going to take all the costs you are giving. You are going to text them individually. I will now start with direct material cost. We are giving levels. I have 80% level. I have 90% level. I have 100% level. I have 105%. I have 110%. At this level, this is the level in percentage. The units, 7,200, 8,100, 9,000, 9,450, 9,900. Of course, the proposed level, that is what you are trying to do. You are not giving that. They now pick material cost. The material cost. Let's go back to the question. Now remember, your focus is on Ikeja. Look at material cost. At 80%, please, let's note this. You can write it down to save time. At 80%, 97,200 total material cost. At 90%, 89,100. At 100%, 99,000. At 105, 102,825. At 110, 106,650. You are now going to take the total cost to your working board. This is 97,200. Is that not? 89,100. 99,000.
9,000.
102,825. 106,650. Oh, thank God. I can even pick it. Now get material cost per unit. Material cost per unit. To do this, the total material cost 97,200 divided by number of units produced, 7,200 units. Please divide. What is material cost here?
11 naira.
11 naira. Move to the next one. 89,100 divided by 8,100. How much, please?
11 naira.
11 naira. Also check. 99,000 divided by 9,000.
11 naira.
Now check. 102,825 divided by 9,450.
10.8.
10.8.
10.88.
8.
Is that not?
Yes, sir.
No, 10.8, not 88. 10.8.
10.88.
It's 88. 10.88.
Please give me in two decimal places.
10.88.
10.88.
Thank you. Now go to at on 110%. What do you have?
10.77.
10.77. Now, what some people did was to round up. They rounded up this figure when we get to 105, 110. Please don't round up. Now you observe that this production is within 100%. Look at it. Look at it, please. 80%, 11 naira. 90%, 11 naira per unit material cost. 11 naira. As soon as production exceeded 100%, material cost per unit falls. Can you see it? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
By 1
Yes,
naira.
sir, we can.
By 1 naira.
As soon as production exceeded 100%, we observe that material cost per unit is falling. Is that not, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, what it means is that although material cost is a variable cost, it is constant per unit when production is within 100%. But if production exceeds 100%, the material cost per unit will fall. This could be as a result of quantity discount being given. Let me explain that. You know that if you buy more material from your supplier and you are buying quantity, bulk, you are buying a lot of quantity, the supplier can give you discounts. Is that not, please? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Your supplier will give
Yes,
you
sir.
a discount.
It's very possible that if I'm just buying within 100%, say I know, but material above 100%, I can ask the supplier that, are you not going to give me discount? As soon as the supplier gives you discounts, then your material cost per unit will now start to fall. Now, what it means is that if production is within 100%, material cost per unit will be 11 naira. If production exceeds 100%, then we need to now know what is material cost per unit. In this case, you are going to put a note. Anyway, there's already a note in your material because the solution is also in your material. In this case, it means that we are going to use high and low method to determine what is material cost per unit if production is above 100%. We know material cost per unit because material cost per unit should be constant. We know material cost per unit if the production is within 100%. But if production is above 100%, we are enjoying quantity discount. Hence, we are now going to use high and low method to determine what is material cost per unit if production is above 100%. Now, the question you are going to ask is, we have different methods of estimating cost. Why are we now choosing high and low method? To my mind, a good student will ask that, maybe there are 5 methods of estimating cost. Why is it that in this particular question, we are using high and low method? The reason is the conditions for high and low. There are 3 conditions. We said there must be activity at the highest level and at the lowest level. In this case, if production is above 100%, at 100% we have activity. At highest level, we have activity. Because of this particular extreme, we can adopt high and low method to estimate, to determine material cost if production is above 100%. Please, you observe that this solution is slightly okay. Oluwaseun.
Yeah, please.
Please go ahead.
The explanation you just gave now, you said for lowest level of activity level and highest level. But what I can see here is 80% and 100%. Is the 80%?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to ask, is the 80% the lowest level you're referring to?
Okay. A very good question. The lowest level based on this question is 80%. And the highest level is 110. However, you observe that at 80%, 90%, 100%, material cost per unit is constant. It is only when production exceeds 100% that the material cost per unit will change. In this case, for this particular case, you are not going to take 80% as your low level because the problem does not start from 80%. The problem starts when production is above 100%. For this particular case of direct material, your lowest level can either be 100 or 105. and your highest level is 110. This is because it is when production exceeds 100% that we start experiencing material cost no longer constant per unit. Is that explanation clear to Oluwaseun and others?
Yes, please.
But thank you for asking. Although I will have explained also, because reasonably, the lowest level here is 80. But we don't have problem with 80%. 11 naira per unit. 90% no problem. 100% no problem. But as soon production exceeds 100%, we observe that material cost per unit is no longer constant. This is the point at which you are now going to take down your high and low method. You are now trying to get material cost per unit if production is above 100%. Is that clear, please?
Yes, sir.
We move to labor. We are still on working two. I want to finish working two first. I will go to direct labor. Direct labor cost. You observe that I'm taking the level. In exam, you might not take it. Is to help, is to aid understanding. I will pick 80%. I will pick 90%. I will pick 100%. I will pick 105. I will pick 110. Again, I will pick my units. My unit, 7,200, 8,100, 9,000, 9,450, 9,900. Now, I will now go and pick direct labor cost. Go and pick your direct labor cost, total. Let's go to the material. Please look at it. Yeah. Direct labor cost at 80%, 57,600. At 90%, 64,800. At 100%, 72,000. At 105, 76,500. At 110, 81,000. Please let us note this. We go back. $57,400. Is that not?
57,600.
800. What do you have, please? 57?
600.
600. 57,600, sir.
600. 64.
800.
800. 72,000. 76. 500. And
81,000.
Oh, 81,000. Now, please go and get labor cost per unit. Labor cost per unit. The total labor cost divided by number of units. How much, please?
8 naira.
8 naira. 64,800 divided by 8,100. 8,100.
8 naira. 8 naira.
8 naira. 72,000 divided by 9,000.
8 naira.
8 naira. 76,500 divided by 9,450.
8.1.
8 naira 10.
10.
81,000 divided by 9,900.
8.18.
Now, look at it again. Just one minute, I want to take this off again. Now, if the product at 80%, labor cost per unit, 8 naira. At 90%, labor cost per unit, 8 naira. At 100%, labor cost per unit, 8 naira. As soon as production exceeds 100%, what happens to labor cost per unit?
Increased.
It increases.
Is increased.
Thank you. What can you make out of it? That means I can make a reasonable assumption. Our employees are working above 100%. We should be able to pay them. We should be able to pay them what we call overtime premium. Is that not? If you are working above 100% capacity, then you should enjoy some overtime premium. That means you are staying. What it means here is that if the employee work within 100%, they are paid 8 naira per unit. If the employees work above 100%, management is paying them overtime premium. This overtime premium will increase their labor cost. We increase labor wage. That is what happens if production exceeds 100%. In this case, if production is within 100%, labor cost per unit is 8 naira. But when production exceeds 100%, the labor cost per unit has changed. That means we are going to use high and low method to determine what is labor cost per unit when production exceeds 100%. We are going to use the high and low method to determine labor cost per unit when production is above 100%. Any question, please? All right. We have texted direct material cost. We have texted direct labor cost. We now move to the third item, production overhead. Working note 1 is full. We move to working note 2. Please confirm you can see my whiteboard being shared.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. We are going to label this page 2. I will now go to working to continue. Now, I will pick my production overhead. I want to know if this cost is a variable cost, or is a fixed cost, or is a mixed cost. My levels, I have 80%, 90%, 100%, 105, 110. The units, this is 7,200, 8,100, 9,000 units, 9,450, 9,000. Now, please, we want to pick the production overhead costs.
Hello, sir.
Production. Yes,
Please, how
ma'am.
do we come about the units, the 7.2, the 8.1?
Okay. Please, are you just joining the class?
Yes, and my network was misbehaving, so I just joined.
Okay, it's understandable. That was the working one we did. I will try to explain it, but please allow me just like maybe 10 minutes. Is that clear, please? Do I have your
All right,
permission?
sir.
I will
Yes,
try
sir.
to I'll come back to it. Thank you. So that
Okay,
I don't break the chain. No, we have
okay.
started the class like an hour. Is that clear, please? I will try to go over it.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
So
This should be working 3.
no, working 2. We are testing for cost behavior. Under it, we have direct material cost, direct labor cost. Now we are now looking at production overhead. Working 2 is text for cost behavior. Is that clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Now we come here. Please let us note the overhead cost. At 80%, 49,800. At 90%, 53,400. At 100%, 57,000. At 105, 58,800. At 110, 60,600. Please help me keep it too, in case I don't remember. I will come here. 49,800. 53 words, please.
400.
400. 57.
57,000.
Then I have what here?
58,800.
58,800. I think I have 6,600 here.
Yes, sir.
This will be in Naira to differentiate it from quantity. Now, please get overhead cost per unit. Overhead cost per unit.
6.92. 6.9.
How much, please?
6.9.
6 point. No, give me 2 decimal places.
6.92.
6.92.
6.92. Next.
6.59.
6.59. Next.
6.33.
6.33. Next.
6.22.
6.22. Next.
6.12.
Now, what that here? As production volume increases, what happened to overhead cost per unit?
It reduces.
As production volume increases, the overhead cost per unit falls. This is an indication that production overhead cost is a missed cost. For those joining the class tonight, we saw something like this. People online last week might not have issue. Let me explain it again. If you observe that as your production volume is increasing, cost per unit is falling, it's an indication that that cost is a missed cost. That cost is what? Let me put it here. This is a missed cost. It contains element of variable cost and fixed cost. In this case, we are going to use high and low method to separate the cost into variable compartments and fixed compartments. And when you are using high and low method, you are going to start from where? Now, okay, look at this. You observe that this cost per unit start to fall from 80%. 80%, 6.92, 90%, 6.59. At from 80%, we start experiencing fall in cost. In this case, your lowest level is 80%. Your highest level is 110. The problem started from 80%. Unlike the two costs we look at, unlike the direct material cost and direct labor cost. I hope this explanation is clear to all.
Yes, please.
All right, it makes sense. All right, thank you. Now, before we go to working three. Now, your working three is a fallout of your working two. In our working two, we said we need to use high and low method. Is that not? Your working three is as a result of your comments in working two. We have commented that we need to use high and low method to separate costs into variable and fixed. We commented under direct material that when production is above 100%, we need to use high and low method to determine what is material cost per unit. We commented under labor cost that when production is above 100%, method to determine labor cost per unit. That means our working three is a fallout of our working two. We now go to working three. Before we go to working two, please, I seek the permission of all the students. Let us go back to working one to explain class how we come about the units. Please, I seek your permission. Let me quickly go there in 2 minutes. Now, please look at the board. The lady that asked that question, how we got that working. Now, look at working number one. In the question, please. Just 1 minute. Where's my cursor? Now look at it. Oh, no. In the question, our focus is on Ikeja factory. Look at the question, please. The factory at Ikeja is currently working at 90% level of activity. In brackets, this is equal to 8,100 units. And we are, due to heavy sales demand, it is intended to increase output to 115%. Now, at Ikeja factory, we are giving 80% level, 90% level, 100% level, 105%, and 110. And the question says we should now determine what is the cost, contribution, and profit if the production is at 115 level. That was the requirement. I now said your working number one is to determine number of units produced at this percentage. At 80%, what is the number of units produced? What is the number of units produced? At 105, 110. We now move to that working one. Look at the working place. We are giving that at 90%. Units produced is 8,100. If you now want to get at 80%, that becomes 80 over 90 multiplied by 8,100. That will give you 7,200. If you want to get 100% unit produced at 100% level, that becomes 100 over 90 multiplied by 8,100. That will give you 9,000 units. If you want to know the unit produced at 105, that becomes 105 over 90 multiplied by 8,100 units. That will give you 9,450. If you want to get 110, the same process. I hope I have answered. I'll try to answer your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All
It's
right,
very
let's move
clear.
on now. All right, thank you the class for allowing us to move to that. We now move to working three now. Working three. I'll come here. Working three. Now, above 100% material cost per unit using high/low method. I'll come here. I'll take my H, that is the I. My L, that is the low. I will start with units. Then material costs. Let's go to the first working. Now look at it, please. At 100%, 100%. Okay, look at the IS. What is the IS? At 110, what is unit produced?
100, 9,900.
At that point, what is my total material cost? 106.50. Now, I will now go to 100%. 100% is taken as my low because this is the point at which material cost per unit start to change above 100%. I can either take 100% or 105. If I take 100%, that means unit is 9,000 units and total material cost is 99,000. I will now go to my work here. At highest level, 9,900 units. Material cost is 106,650. If you want to take 105 to give us comfort, we can take 105 because at this point material cost change. At 105, what is unit produced? 9,450. Can we see it? What is material cost? Total material cost.
855, 825, 102, 825.
I can pick that because some students might say, why not? You can pick anyone. I can pick 950. 102. 825. Now look for the differences in units and in cost. 9,900 minus 9,450. What do you have?
450.
50.
450 units. Now differences in cost. 106,650 minus 102,825.
3,825.
3,825. Now, please compute material cost per unit. That becomes 3,825 divided by number of units, 450. Please, what do you have?
8.5.
8 naira 50 kobo. What you are saying is, okay, please let me put it down. I might need that place. What you are trying to tell us is, if production is above 100%, direct material cost per unit is 8 naira 50 kobo. Is that point clear, please? I will just put it here. 8 naira 50 kobo. If you like, take 100% at your low, and your get 8 naira 50. You are done with material. We now move to labor.
Excuse me, please.
Please go ahead, please. Your question.
Okay. Yeah, so this 8 naira 50 kobo, are we saying that this is the average material cost per unit when it's higher than 100%?
Thank you. Thank you. When production is above 100%, the average material cost per unit is 8 naira 50 kobo. That is brilliant. Very brilliant. Now you move to your labor cost. You move to your labor cost above 100%. I can take that as working for. I'll come here. Working for. Above 100%. Labor cost per unit. Remember, you are using high and low method so that I can save time. We can't go to new topic today. I doubt it. So you start with your high, your low. Number of units. At high level, number of units is 9,900. At low level, that is where labor cost start to change. 9,450. I will now come here, labor cost total. Let's go back to working one. If production is at high level, what is total labor cost? 81,000. If production is at 105, what is total labor cost? 76,500. You now go back. I'll come here. Please, labor cost is in Naira. 81,000. Naira, 76,500. You now come here. The differences in units, 450 units. The differences in labor cost, please.
1,500 naira.
I can hardly hear you.
4,500 naira.
That's better, thank you. Please, labor cost per unit at above 100%.
It's 10 naira.
Thank you.
10
That
naira.
is, thank you, 4,500 divided by 450. This will give us 10 naira. So if production is within 100%, labor cost per unit is 8 naira. If production exceeds 100%, labor cost per unit becomes 10 naira. Then our working 5 now. That will now become production overhead. Okay, I'm not sure. Can I manage this space? No, let's not mop ways. Let's move to working 3, page number 3. I will open page number 3. All right, please confirm you can see my whiteboard being shared.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I will label this page 3 so that if you are looking at the working after we share it, I'll label this page 3. I will now come here, working 5. The working 5 is using high. So let me write it in full because some might not be in class. They will be looking at the working. Using high and low method. Separate production overhead into variable and fixed costs. So even if you are not present in class, you are looking at the working, you should be able to make sense for it. Now remember that your low level is now 80% because for production overhead, we start having that problem from 80%. Let's go back to it. Look at it, please. Yes, look at it, please. At 80%, overhead cost per unit, 6.92. At 90%, 6.59. That means as production increases, as production volume increases, overhead cost per unit falls from 80%. So your highest level.
I can't hear you again now.
Sorry? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
All right, please, Mr. Latif, ensure you check your device.
I'm back.
Okay, thank you. The highest level is 9,900 units. At this level, total overhead cost is 60,600. The lowest level is 7,200. At this level, total overhead cost is 49,800. So we go back to that working fine. $9,900 units. Production overhead cost is 6,600. At low level, 7,200. Production overhead cost is 49,800. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, please, the differences.
99 minus 72, that's 2,700.
2,700 units.
And 10,800 naira.
I have
10,800
10,800.
naira.
Now, please get variable overhead cost per unit. Variable overhead
4 naira.
cost per, okay, most of you got this one, per unit.
4 naira.
Unit. This is equal to, this is equal to 10,800 divided by 27. This is equal to 4 naira. You have gotten variable overhead cost per unit. Next is, I want to separate into variable and fixed cost. Next is, now determine total variable cost. You can either use high level or low level. Look at it. If you say at high level, comma, total variable costs is equal to, look at it, number produced at high level, 9,900 units. This is equal to 9,900 multiplied by 4. What's the total variable cost? What's your total variable cost?
39,600.
That gives me 39,600. Now, look at it, please. Out of this production overhead cost, 60,600 contain variable cost and fixed cost. The total variable cost is 39,600. What is the total fixed cost? That means my total fixed cost is, I can come here. I can put a line here now, so as to make it more. My total fixed cost is equal to 60,600 minus 39,600. That will give me how much, please?
21,000.
21,000. You have separated into variable and fixed cost. Thank you, Nancy. Now, you can also check to confirm that the total fixed cost is the same. Look at low level. Multiply 7,200 by 4. That will give you total variable cost at low level. What do you have, please?
28,800.
No, total variable cost.
You said 72 times 4.
28,800.
28,800.
That's 28,800. Thank you. Now, the total overhead cost is 49,800. Total variable cost is 28,800. What is your total fixed cost?
21,000.
You see, the total fixed cost will be the same, whether at the highest level or at the lowest level. That will give you comfort that your solution, you are on the right track.
Please, sir, can you come again? I don't understand.
Okay, no problem. Sorry, what's the name? So that it make it,
Tongue
I get to know my student also with the name.
Grace.
Tongue Grace.
Yeah, Tongue Grace.
Okay, Tongue Grace. Okay. Now, let me explain that again. Okay, let me ask, up to this point, we got 4 naira. You understand that aspect?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Now, the variable overhead cost per unit is 4 naira. Now, at high level, we produce, I'm trying to pick my cost. At high level, we produce 4,000. So just hanging the same. We produce 9,900. And variable overhead cost per unit is 4 naira. Now, what is total variable overhead cost at high level? Look at it. At high level, total variable overhead cost, we produce 9,900 multiplied by 4 naira. That will give us
39,600.
Now, good, great. Now, you now come back. At high level, your total overhead is 60,600. And you have calculated that the total variable is 39,600. Now, what is the total fixed cost embedded? Are you there, please? The total overhead cost is 50,600. And you have calculated that the total variable overhead cost is 39,600. You now want to get what is the total fixed cost included. Look at it here. Your total fixed cost is equal to the total overhead, 60,600, minus the total variable cost, 39,600. That will give you 21,000.
21,000.
Is that clear, please?
Very clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay, fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. If you can understand the concepts, you can deal with questions. I always tell students, our students should be able to write the exam and score above 60%. Look at the working we have done. All the working you are doing will attract mark. Now let us go to the statements. Examiner say, produce a statement that shows the marginal cost, contribution, and profits. We have analyzed all the costs. Then one more working before we go. What is selling price per unit at Ikeja factory? One more workings before we move out. I need to do that working to make the class seamless. When I'm solving that, please allow me to take this. It's occupying space. Okay. I want to take red to demarcate this aspect so that when you are looking at the working, now we'll now go to working 6 now. Working 6. Working 6. Selling price per unit. Selling price per unit. I have the level. I just want to show this working. 80%, 90%, 100%, 105, then 110. Then the units, this is 7,200. This is 8,100. This is 9,000. This is 9,450. This is 9,900. Please, let's go back to the question. What is the sales value? Please look at it. At 80%, what is the sales value? 216,000. At 90%, what is the sales value?
243,000.
243. 100%, 270. 105, 283, 500. And 110, 297.
37,000.
Please, let me keep it to, I might require your assistance. I will now come back here. Sales value, total, 216, 243,000, 270, 283, 500, Abby,
Yes.
and 279,000, Abby,
297.
297. Please get selling price per unit. Total sales value divided by number of units sold.
30.
Yeah.
30 naira. Please check again. Next, at 90% selling price,
30 naira.
30 naira. At 100%, what's selling price?
30 naira.
At 105, what is selling price?
30 naira.
At 110, what is selling price?
30 naira.
You observe that selling price is constant at all levels. There's no problem here. We can now go and prepare our statements, taking into consideration all the workings we have done. We can prepare our statements now. We can prepare the statement now. So I will have to share page number 4. Please confirm you can see the whiteboard being shared.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, my statements of marginal cost. Marginal cost. That is the heading. Contribution and profits. Ikeja factory. What is the proposed level we are working towards now?
115.
1.5%. At this level, what is the volume of production? 10,350 units. Is that not, please?
Yes, sir.
Check your working one.
10,350 units.
Thank you. Of course, you can rule this in exam to make your work neat. I just try to do this ruling to make your work neat. I will now start. My 2 naira sign. Based on your statement, I will start with face value. Face value. At the proposed level, we are planning to sell 10,350 units. And selling price per unit at Ikeja is 30 naira. Please, what is your sales value total?
310,500.
310,500. I will now go to next. I need to pick all my variable costs. All my variable costs. I will start with direct material costs. Now be mindful. Direct material costs. If production is within 100%, what is direct material cost per unit?
11 naira.
How much?
11 naira.
Thank you. Please, you know that this is 10,350 and it's above 100%. You are going to separate it into two. Look at it. I will say within, I will like it, 100%. 100%. At 100%, what is number of units produced, please? If we are 100%.
9,000. 9,000.
That means if we produce within 100%, we are going to do 9,000 units.
Yes, sir.
Direct material cost per unit is 11 naira. That means out of 10,350, I will first produce the first 9,000. That is within 100%. Is that clear, please? Now,
yes.
Above, look at it. I've used that sign. Okay, let me not use sign, because I'm also aware that some students will not be in class. They will wait for the solution. I will now do like this.
Above 100%.
Above 100%. Now look at it. Out of 10,350, I've produced 9,000. How many units is above 100%? We are now going
1,350.
to take 10,350 minus 9,000. What do you have?
1,003.
1,350 units. This is the units above 100%. Now, if production is now above 100%, what is material cost per unit?
10 naira,
Hello?
10 naira 88 kobo, 80 something kobo.
No.
8.5. 8.5.
Naira 50 kobo. We have done the working. Go and check working 3. Mr. Latif, we have done that working. Is that clear, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Now, please compose, give me material cost. You are going to separate it. This will give me
99,000.
99,000.
99.
Then this will give me how much, please?
11,475.
11,475. 475. Please get total material cost now. Add the two together.
110,000.
110,475.
110.
Wow.
475.
Okay, that's correct. With material cost. You move to your labor cost. Direct labor cost. Again, we are going to separate this into two. 100%. My production will be 9,000. What is labor cost per unit if production is within 100%?
8 naira.
8.
8 naira. Above 100%. Then that means I'm going to now produce 1,350. What is labor cost per unit?
10 naira.
Thank you. 10
naira.
naira. Please work this out. This will give you 72,000. This will give you
13,500.
500. Total labor cost, add together.
85,500.
85,500.
85,500. Now we move to variable overhead. You know, you are going to group all your variable costs. What is variable overhead cost per unit?
4 naira.
4 naira. We calculated this.
Yeah.
Now, whether you produce 100% or above, variable cost per unit is 4 naira. Here you are not going to separate. You just come here, pick 10,350 multiply by 4 naira. What is your variable overhead cost?
41,400.
21.
41,400.
41,400.
Don't be annoyed. $41,400. We have taken all the variable costs. Please sum up all your variable costs. Starting from material, sum up.
237,375. 237,375.
237.
375.
375. This is your marginal cost. Please, because of space, I'm supposed to create a space here now. This is your marginal cost. Look at it, please. I'll put an arrow. This is the marginal cost. Examiner says statement of marginal cost, contribution, and profits. You have gotten your marginal cost. Look at it here. 237,375. Now, next, your contribution. Sales value minus marginal cost. Please, what is the contribution?
73,125.
73,125.
125. Please, because of space, I'm going to label this. This is your contribution. You can now compute your profits. What is your profit? Contribution minus total fixed cost. What's our total fixed cost, please?
21,000.
21,000.
Okay, please just let me open one more. Permit me to open. Because I'm going to just manage it. I have to share this again. Permit me to share one more. No, I want everything to be there. Okay, I've added one more. So let's take it to page 5. But the bottom line is the message and the knowledge is clear. No, 800, it's too high. It's too high. Okay. This is just to complete it. I will label this page 5. We have gotten contribution. Our contribution is
73,125.
70 what? 73?
125.
Is that not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I will now say let's total fix production please. 21,000. Is that not, please?
Yes, sir.
My profits
52,125.
52,125. You are done with all. Please, the solution is also available on the material we share. We are using digital pad to support the lecture so as to aid understanding. The solution is available on the material shared. Any question, please?
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Please, I want to know why we are focusing on Ikeja.
Okay. First is, you are joining the class today, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, it's understandable. Your question is understandable. Actually, we started the question last week. We solved a Apapa factory last week. we couldn't get to Ikeja factory. But like I explained today, the question is one, but the question can be separated into two. We treated Apapa clearly, and we resolve it. The Apapa question is less complex than Ikeja. If you understand this Ikeja very well, you can treat Apapa yourself. So we have solved Apapa last week. Now, when we now solve Ikeja this week.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now, I will advise students joining the class tonight. Go back to Apapa. Look at what we have done today and provide solution to Apapa. You can share with me. Let me see it. You can just provide solution to Apapa. Of course, people in class last week will not have problem with Apapa. So you can go ahead and look at Apapa, provide solution to this. You can private chat me and share with me if there's any area of concern, because the solution is also available on the material we share. Is that taking place?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let us look at the B part of that question and round up the B part of that question. Just 1 minute. I'm going to look at my charts. Okay, look at the B part. Briefly explain why your approach to estimating the cost for each factory. It is on the group chart. Yes, Dora, the material is available on the group chat. But if you are just joining the group chat tonight, we can reshare to assist those just joining. Okay, Dami, don't worry. We are going to reshare the material tonight. Now, the explanation as to why we treated the cost separately is clear, and we have explained it. If you look at Apapa factory, let me move the material up small. Look at Apapa factory. At Apapa factory, production is within 100%. Because production is within 100%, there is no quantity discount at Apapa factory. There is no overtime premium. Hello? The explanation. At Apapa factory, you can take down, please. You can take down this explanation. Let me wait. Please get your biro and pen. Recorded for the previous classes, because we have classes, we have other class too. The recording will be available this week. Alima, you are going to get the recording this week. But please, let me make this clear. This class is open. It's open to all the students. The first 1 week and 2 weeks, students will join the class. This is just by the way. As for next week, only the bona fide student will join the class. And the message should be clear. All right, let's move on. Now, if you look at Apapa factory, production is just within 100%. At this factory, there's no quantity discount given for material purchase. There's no overtime premium paid to labor. At Ikeja factory, production is above 100%. Because production is above 100%, the factory enjoys quantity discount on material purchase. Also, employees are paid premium, are paid overtime premium for working above 100%. This is the reason why the cost estimate is treated differently for the two factories. All right. We are done with that question. We are done with the solution.
Sir, can you write that explanation down, because I didn't really get it. You were so fast.
Okay, I was really fast. Don't be annoyed though. Look at the explanation. Requirement B says we should explain briefly why the treatment of cost is not the same in both factories. The explanation is, at Apapa factory, production is within 100%. At this factory, there's no quantity discounts given on material purchase. And labor is not paid overtime premium. Is that taking place? Is that point taking place at Apapa factory?
Yes, sir.
Now, at Ikeja factory.
No, sir. Hold on, sir. You say material purchase and what?
I said there is no quantity discounts on material purchase. And labor is not paid overtime premium. Is that point taken?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you now get to Ikeja factory, at Ikeja factory, production is above 100%. In this case, the factory enjoys quantity discounts on material purchase above 100%. In this case, the factory enjoys quantity discounts on material purchase above 100%. Also, labor is paid overtime premium. Also, labor is paid overtime premium for working above 100%. Is that point taken?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any question, please?
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Why not?
Sir, I want to confirm that the workings 5 we did using that high-low method to separate overhead into variable and fixed costs. Is it that in any question we are given, we also use the lowest percentage? That's because we used 80% and 110 in this one when we are separating. But the other two, we use the 100 and the 105 or the 100 as said with the 110.
Okay, that's fine. Because if a student asks question, you are helping so many students. I will go back to that. Now look at our working one. Look at direct material costs. Can you see it, please?
Yes, sir.
Now, at 80%, material cost per unit is 11 naira. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
At 90%, material cost per unit is 11 naira. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Also at 100%, material cost per unit is 11 naira. Now, as soon as the production exceeds 100%, material cost per unit changes. Do you observe that, please?
Yes, I observe that.
The reason why we choose 110% and 105 is because this is the level where material cost per unit is no longer constant. In this case, our low level is 105. Our high level is 110. Between 80 to 100, material cost per unit is constant at 11 naira. As soon as production exceeds 100%, material cost per unit falls. It is when production is above 100% we are having problem. At that point, we are now going to calculate material cost per unit if production is above 100%. We know the material cost per unit if production is within 100%. Is that clear, please? Hello?
I can hear you, sir.
Is that clear, please?
Yes, sir.
Also, look at labor cost per unit. Look at labor cost. At 80%, labor cost per unit is 8 naira. At 90%, labor cost per unit is 8 naira. At 100%, labor cost per unit 8 naira. As soon as production exceeds 100%, what happened to labor cost per unit?
It changes. It's increased.
It increases. Thank you. That means the problem started when production is above 100%. In this case, you are going to calculate labor cost per unit when production is above 100%. Already you know labor cost per unit when production is within 100%. Labor cost per unit is 8 naira. But when production is above 100%, labor cost per unit increases. You now use high and low method. Your high is 110. Your low is 105. This is where problems started. But if you go to production overhead, look at production overhead costs. At 80%, overhead cost per unit, 6.92. At 90%, overhead cost per unit, 6.59. At 100%, overhead cost per unit, 6.33. At 105, overhead cost per unit, 6.22. You observe that as production volume increases, production overhead cost per unit falls. Is that not, please?
That's true.
Yes, sir.
This is starting for 80%. What it means is that your production overhead cost is a mixed cost. It contains element of variable cost and fixed cost. You are now going to use high and low method to separate the cost into variable compartments and fixed compartments. For you to use high and low method, you are going to start from 80% now, not 105%. Your low level now becomes 80%. Your high level becomes 110. This is because it is from 80%, the overhead cost per unit starts to fall. Is that explanation clear?
Yes, sir.
May God give us a better understanding.
Amen.
All right. We can proceed to the next topic. Our next topic is price theory. Interestingly, cost estimation will also feature in price theory. Let us get prepared against next lecture Wednesday by God's grace. We are going to stop the class here. It is apparent we cannot start new topic tonight. May God keep us in peace. We meet Wednesday to continue the class. Our next topic, pricing decision. How does company determine selling price? What are the different methods company can use? Wait, so okay, the person thought we are done. Is he Akoli?
No,
Or Peter?
nothing.
Somebody is speaking background. Okay, no problem. So we shall be looking at price theory next week. Let's remain blessed.
So
Good
don't
night.
forget to share the notes. Don't forget to share the workings.
I won't forget to share it, don't worry. All right. Good night.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you, sir. Good
Good
night,
night,
sir.
sir.
All
Yeah,
right.
good night.
Good night, sir, and God bless.
Yeah, man.